Then in verse 7, we have this verse that clearly talks about Jesus. It says, "Awake, O sword, against my shepherd, against the man who is my companion, says the Lord of hosts. Strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. Then I will turn my hand against the little ones." Now, the little ones would be the people of Israel. After they strike Jesus, God's going to judge Israel. "And it shall come to pass in all the land, says the Lord, that 2/3 in it will be cut off and die, but 1/3 shall be left in it. And I will bring the 1/3 through the fire, will refine them as silver is refined, and test them as gold is tested. They will call on my name, and I will answer them. I will say, this is my people, and each one of them will say, the Lord is my God." Now, the shepherd will be killed. That's Jesus. Since Jesus quotes this in Matthew 26:31 and says this is going to be fulfilled tonight, it's a rather unmistakable time marker for the fulfillment of this particular prophecy. And after they've killed the Messiah, the next thing we read about is that God is going to turn his hand against the flock, against Israel, because of their rejection of their king. This part of Zechariah 13 at the end and going into chapter 14 is, in my opinion, about AD 70 and the following era, which is, of course, the era we live in. I believe that we find, as we get to chapter 14, which we won't tonight, we will find that AD 70, the destruction of Jerusalem, is told along with the prophecy about the New Jerusalem, the church, the spiritual Jerusalem, continuing and worshiping God purely. After the old Jerusalem is destroyed, the New Jerusalem, the Christian church, worships God in spirit and truth, and we will see, and I will demonstrate from especially citations from the New Testament, that this is what chapter 14 is about. Once again, most commentators want to make chapter 14 to be about Armageddon and the second coming of Christ and the millennium. I don't believe they are following the storyline well enough. Those who see this as future, the dispensationalists, they see this as referring to something that will happen during the tribulation. They believe that during the tribulation, the Antichrist will persecute the Jews. Now, by the way, there's no mention of any Antichrist in the book of Zechariah, but nonetheless, they believe this is talking about that. The Antichrist will persecute the Jews, and with the result that 2/3 of the Jews in Jerusalem or in Israel will be killed. They take this quite literally. 2/3 are going to die. Only 1/3 will survive. And they believe that third that survives will be like the 144,000, the ones that God preserves, the ones who turn to Christ at the end of the tribulation, and so forth. But they actually believe that 2/3 of the world Jewish population will be killed in Israel during the tribulation. Now, these are the same people who are advising us to help the Jews get to Israel. These are the people who are asking us to help contribute to the plane fare to fly Jews from Poland and Russia to Israel. Why? So that 2 out of 3 of them can die there? It's a very strange mentality, because they want the Jews to go there because it's the end times and they want to see Bible prophecy fulfilled. Well, what precisely is the fulfillment that they're looking for? The destruction of 2/3 of the Jewish population in Israel. That is what they believe this is predicting, and that is what they are looking forward to. Now, is there a more anti-Semitic viewpoint available than that? Even Hitler didn't kill 2/3. But dispensationalists, they believe God's going to see to it that the Antichrist does. So let's get those Jews over there so this can start happening, man. Let's get this show on the road so Jesus can come back. What a mentality. And yet this is the dispensational expectation. And they get it from this. This is the passage where they believe 2/3 of the Jews will be killed during the tribulation in Israel.